What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my builds guide and unit review of Attuned Caeda, Ascended Merric, Arlen, Yuliya and Castor. So we have got Attuned Caeda as a Lance Infantry unit and she has got Pure Wing Spear as her preferred weapon. This does have the copyrighted effective damage against armored and cavalry foes, and it does give her minus on special cooldown. So Luna becomes a 2 cooldown special, and at start of turn, if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, then she can give herself and the allies in 2 spaces the +6 attack and speed buff and the order status. So we have seen this order status on Peony, and this is going to be giving the warping to your allies, which is going to be improving your mobility, especially if you're not running Peony for giving this kind of order status. And then at start of combat, if she's within 3 spaces of an ally, then she's able to get +X to all of her stats, and this can go up to max 14 depending on the number of allies in 3 spaces, multiplied by 3 and then added by 5. And she does have 50% damage reduction piercing in the combat, so that is really helpful because nukes do have a lot of damage reduction nowadays, and she's not exactly going to be able to run physical null follow-up or a tempo 4 skill in her slot B, so having the damage reduction piercing in the weapon itself is good. And then she's got 30% damage reduction in the weapon, and this is going to be helping her get another source of damage reduction to function as a dodge tank. And then finally she's able to heal up the HP in combat per attack. She's going to be healing up 14 HP if she's facing an armor or a cavalier, and if she's facing a flyer or infantry unit, then she's going to be healing up 7 HP. So the 14 HP healing is going to be giving you the self-sustain, which is extremely helpful for Aether Raids offense for functioning as an Omni tank, because we have so much pre-combat damage that just stacking up the healing is going to be helping you survive through the subsequent combats. And then she has got her preferred slot B skill in Believe in Love. This is going to be giving you Phantom Speed +7, so it is going to be helping you against other speed tanks which are going to be having speed based damage reduction, and she's able to inflict -5 attack speed and defense debuff on the foe in the combat. And just like Legendary Marth, she has got Spectrum immunity built in the skill, so any kind of debuffs are actually going to be powering her up, and it is going to be helping her stack even more stats. She does have the dodge damage reduction up to 50%, just like any kind of tier 4 damage reduction skill. And if she's facing any kind of armor or cavalier, then she's able to get the flat damage reduction, which is unpierceable by the way, depending on the highest total buffs among herself and the allies in 2 spaces of her. So this is going to be giving you the flat damage reduction, which can go up to easily 24, because she does have the +6 attack and speed buff from her weapon, and then she's got defense res pledge, so she's able to get 24 visible buffs. And even if the foe has got any kind of lull skill, she's going to be counting the visible buffs of her allies, so it is going to be a lull proof effect in that sense. And getting 24 flat damage reduction against cavaliers is huge in a metagame where we have a lot of really threatening cavaliers like Duo Leon, Duo Sanaki, Winter Yanaka, all of these units that do a lot of damage. So the flat damage reduction is going to be not pierceable, and you can also run godlike reflexes to have even more unpierceable damage reduction. And this is the real strength of Attuned Caeda here, just stacking up a lot of flat damage reduction. And if she's going to be facing any kind of flyer or an infantry unit, then she gets 40% of the X as the flat damage reduction. So 40% of 24 is going to be 9 flat damage reduction, which is still pretty good honestly, all things considered. And this is going to be helping her Omni tank a lot better, and she's going to be stacking up even more damage reduction with Guard Echo, which is going to be giving you the guard effect in both phases. And in the enemy phase, it is going to be giving you 20% damage reduction from foes' first attacks, including the brave hits. So while this is not the most insane echo skill, it is still useful for many of the tanks to get the guard effect out of this skill and also to stack up a bit more of the damage reduction. She also comes with a new skill in Distant Bonus Doubler, which is going to be having resistant counter effect built in, and it is going to be functioning similar to Bonus Doubler 4, but instead of giving you 4 to all of your stats, it is just going to be having the Bonus Doubler effect. And this effect is also lull proof, because if the enemy has got the lull effect in their weapon or they've got a lull skill, then you're going to be counting the visible buffs with the allies in 2 spaces. So in that way you're able to stack up even more stats, and that is going to be making Caeda into a really solid Omni tank. And to go along with her preferred weapon, she has got Defense Res Pledge, which is going to be giving you the visible buffs to your defense and resistance, and you're also able to get the Special Charges status. so you can retaliate back with Luna and also loop godlike reflexes really easily with Attuned Caeda, and then she's also able to get extra defense and resistance depending on the allies in 2 spaces of her. So this is going to be helping her just fully buff herself up with her weapon and make the full use out of her slot A skill and also the flat damage reduction that she gets on the visible buffs with her weapon. Overall, Attuned Caeda is easily one of the best Omni tanks in the game, and honestly after using her I was kinda impressed because she's able to tank a lot of the things which you wouldn't really expect a Lance Infantry unit to tank, namely Dual Leon. So because of the flat damage reduction that she has got against the Cavaliers, she's able to live Leon, and even if she's not going to be having enough resistance to not get swept by him, at least she's able to live to tell the tale, which cannot be said for a lot of the other Omni tanks in the game. Still, Dual Leon is going to be a pain point when he's going to be able to do so much pre-combat damage and just damage in general because of the weapon strangle advantage, but flat damage reduction is going to be helping Caeda survive, and you can try and stack up the resistance for the resistance sweep of Dual Leon, but it is going to be taking a lot of the resources and support units. She does have good amount of speed with base 47 and base 40 to attack with a super boon, so it is going to be helpful with the effective damage. She's also really valuable as a fodder unit because she's an attuned unit, so she's not going to be vanishing from your barracks if you use her inheritance, which is a big thing because she comes with a really good skill in distant bonus doubler, which is going to be helpful on many units. Unfortunately, you cannot really give defense res pledge all that easily in the same inheritance because that skill is going to be requiring defense res O3, which is only available on duo Alphons. So I hope that we can get an easy version of that skill on some kind of free-to-play unit, because inheriting the entire kit of Caeda is going to be really amazing. And because she's an attuned unit, you're going to be getting the value out of her inheritance because she's able to run a lot of infantry skills and duplicate that for your barracks. And Guard Echo is also an attuned skill that you can fodder her for, so I just want to go over some of the options that you can give this Guard Echo skill to. Obviously, any kind of tank is going to be appreciating the guard effect and free up their slot A or slot B skill from running any of those skills that do give them the guard effect, so it is helpful in that regard. But a lot of the dragons are going to be enjoying this because they can just stack up a lot of the good defensive effects. Canny Fighter is going to be giving them a lot of damage reduction, so you can run this on many of the dragons, especially armor dragons, and a lot of armors can just let go of running the Earth Fire boost skill in slot A or even Sturdy Stance and run this Guard Echo skill to get the guard effect, and then run a close defense 4, which allows you to ignore any kind of visible buffs of the enemy, so it is good for running other slot A skills. And same can go for many of the Arcane 3 users because it does have the full tempo effect, so having the guard effect along with the full tempo effect means that the enemy is not charging their special unless they have null guard effect. So you can run Attack Defense Unity in the slot A instead, and you can still get the guard effect and run Weaving Fighter for the damage reduction. And a 1 cooldown Armored Blaze is something that you can take advantage of because of the full tempo effect in Arcane 3. You can also run this on many of the infantry dragons. Like I said, dragons are going to be enjoying this, and you can run Neo Female Kana and pretty much run a build like this. Whenever we get speed resistance tempo 4, that is also going to be an option, and because Fargus has got the full tempo effect in his weapon, he can actually take advantage of the pledge skill that he can get at the same time, and then he can also run distant bonus doubler, and he already gives out the attack buff with his weapon. So with the pledge skill, you're going to be able to get the resistance buff and make the bonus doubler work. And if you're going to be foddering her for distant bonus doubler, then it is going to be helpful with any kind of unit that already gives themselves the visible buffs like Astrum, Merric, and also they've got bonus doubler in their weapon. And you can also run Farmer's Tool Plus, which does have bonus doubler 4 built in, and you can just stack up the bonus doubler with the use of Isadora, Spring Mirabilis, or Young or Ledgering Illywood. For building up Caeda, you can just give her bonus doubler as a Sacred Seal. She doesn't really have the null follow-up effect in her weapon or even in her exclusive skill, so you can actually run that as a Sacred Seal, but a lot of the times you can outsource it with Infantry Null Follow-up Ally or Infantry Speed Tactic Ally, and that is going to be much better. So that way you're able to stack up more stats with bonus doubler, and if you're going to be investing a bit into her, then I would heavily recommend you to run her with Godlike Reflexes. That is her best special, And with Emblem Marth, it is going to be a 1 cooldown special that you can easily loop with the Plet skill. And in Aether Raids offense, she can function as an Omni tank and can also try and out-res Duo Leon. I know it sounds a bit far-fetched, but still you can try and do that because she can just stack up so many stats that she can out-res Duo Leon with enough support. And especially low investment Leons are going to be easily something that you can out-res, and that allows you to retaliate back to Duo Leon and just kill him. In a lot of these situations, you might not be able to do that, but at least you're going to be able to live Duo Leon with 1 HP. So because she doesn't really need to be above certain HP threshold, that does help you because you're going to be having the flat damage reduction help you survive. And because she does have the Unity effect built in her slot B, you can actually try and Unity stack by having attack speed Unity and running distant counter melee Sacred Seal. So by running her with Legendary Male Robin, you're able to Unity stack and stack up insane amount of speed, and Godlike Reflexes is going to be giving you that unpierceable damage reduction, and it also works really well with the Phantom speed that she gets from her slot B skill. Ascended Merric is a Green Mage Cavalier with Tender Excalibur as his preferred weapon. This gives him -1 special cooldown, making Sacred Wind into a 1 cooldown special, and he also has his trademark effective damage against flying foes. And at start of combat, if his HP is at or above 25%, then he's able to get +5 to all of his stats, and he also gets additional attack and speed in the combat depending on the HP of the allies that are on your team. So if they're healthy, then you're able to get +9 to attack and speed for a total of 14 attack and speed, which is definitely good for a nuke. And then he has got the full null follow-up effect built in this weapon, and he also gets 30% damage reduction from foes' first attacks, including the brave hits. And then he has got the special jumping that we've seen before with Rally Spectrum, and that's why I've got that icon here. So he's able to get the special cooldown -1 jump before his first attack and also before his first follow-up attack. So this is going to be making it so that he can easily trigger his Sacred Wind and nuke with it. And Sacred Wind is going to be his exclusive special, which completely pierces through the damage reduction and scales off 40% of his speed. And after the combat, and after triggering the special, you're able to heal up 20 HP to yourself and all of your allies, and Merric gets Canto 1 status for 1 turn. So it allows you to retreat a bit with the Canto 1, and the 20 HP healing is going to be having good synergy with the weapon that he has got. He also has Inside Attack Speed, which is going to be giving him the visible buffs to his attack and speed, and also the Insided status, which is going to be active in the player phase, and it is going to be giving you extra stats to all of your stats depending on the movement that you have done before initiating combat. So it is going to be giving you the full bang for a buck as a Cavalier, so it is going to be giving you even more stats on top of the stats that you get out of his weapon. He does come with Remote Sparrow, which is going to be giving you 30% damage reduction on the first attack, and he has got a new skill in Seal Speed Resistance 3. So this is basically combining 2 stats for a seal skill, and this is going to be inflicting -3 speed and resistance debuff on the foe. And just like Annette's Crusher Refine, this is going to be ignoring any kind of debuff neutralization of the foe. So that is going to be something we're going to be seeing on these dual seal skills basically. And if the foe has got any kind of penalty to their speed and resistance, it also inflicts guard on them, which is definitely good for a nuke so that you don't get nuked yourself with a special. And then after the combat, you're able to debuff the opponent's speed and resistance, which is kind of expected out of a seal skill. So overall, Ascended Merric is going to be a pretty solid Mage Cavalry nuke with 46 base speed and 43 base attack. And because he can get the full damage reduction piercing, it definitely makes him one of the better Cav nukes out there. And the special jumping in his weapon is going to be making it so that he can easily trigger the special and do a lot of damage. And if he's not able to kill the enemy, then he's still able to get the special jump on his first follow-up attack, which hopefully he can live to tell the tale with the damage reduction that he has got in his kit. Because Ascended Merric is an Ascended unit, you're able to ascend any of his boons for free, so make sure to do that. And you can ascend his speed asset, which is going to be mainly useful because he does have the special that scales off his speed. So you can just ascend his speed and run Blade Session as a Sacred Seal. And his Slotty and Slot B skills are going to be fine on a budget, but if you want to optimize them, then Flared Sparrow and Occultist Strike are going to be the main options you can run. And he already has a really amazing Slotty skill and Inside Attack Speed. So you're going to be stacking up a lot of attack and speed, and he can function in Aether Raids defense as a Cavalry nuke. and you can just give him Desperation 4, which is going to be functioning really well with this weapon because he gets the special jump on his first follow-up attack, and Desperation allows you to instantly make your follow-up attack. So this way you're able to trigger 2 specials back to back, which is really amazing for nuking, and that is going to be really good with this special, which completely pierces the damage reduction. And Fatal Smoke 4 is going to be helping you completely ignore any kind of healing of the enemies and stopping their healing, and also getting rid of the miracle effects that they might have. Arlen is a colorless infantry mage with Light Burst Tome as his preferred weapon. This gives him -1 special cooldown, so Ignis becomes a 3 cooldown special, and at start of turn, if he has got at or above 25% HP, then he gives himself and the allies in 2 spaces the +6 attack speed and defense buff, and also the unhindered movement status. So we have seen the unhindered movement status before on Caedean Lind, and this does fit Arlen, the Mage of Caedean, and this is going to be enabling your cavalry units to bypass the trench tiles and your infantry units bypass the tree tiles. So it is going to be improving their mobility in a different way. And then at start of combat, if his HP is at or above 25%, and he's going to be able to get the special cooldown -1 jump before his first attack. So this is going to be helping him trigger the specials a lot easily, especially with the Tempo 4 skill that he comes with, and then he can inflict -X attack speed and resistance debuff on the foe in the combat. And the lower the foe's special cooldown count, the more debuffs you're going to be doing. So against a foe with 1 cooldown special, you're going to be doing -14 to their attack speed and resistance, which is definitely quite a lot. And he has got 30% damage reduction from foe's first attack, and he also has the damage reflection, so he's able to do the true damage based on the total damage that he has reduced. So you can just stack up the damage reduction with stuff like Guard Echo and Guard Sloppy skill, and there are not too many options to stack up the damage reduction on a ranged unit, but still, this is going to be helping you do more damage on your follow-up attack. And after the combat, he's able to heal up 7 HP, and he does bring the close counter version of bonus doubler, so this is going to be functioning the same way as CAEDA'S D bonus doubler, but the users of this skill are going to be far lower than the distant counter skill, because not a lot of ranged units have the physical bulk like Arlen with that base 38 defense, and they don't really have the bulk to take on many of the melee threats. But there are units like Duasker and Midori with their flat damage reduction, and they are going to be bulky enough, and there's also going to be Limstella and Kyria who can function with the physical bulk that they've got and retaliate back to the melee threats. And you're also going to be able to make use of the Tempo skill, which you can inherit at the same time. The Tempo 4 skill is going to be debuffing foes' attack and resistance, and it is going to be neutralizing the special charges effects of the enemies and also nullifying any of their guard skills, and it does provide you with 50% damage reduction piercing, which is really valuable, and you only have to trigger your special to get the damage reduction piercing, unlike Special Spiral. So even against the Scowl Dragons and Scowl effects, you're able to pierce through the damage reduction of the enemy, which is really good. So Arlen is a pretty unique infantry mage with higher physical bulk and also base 45 speed, so he is a speedy mage, and because of the unhindered movement status, he's able to support his allies just get past a lot of the difficult terrain. If you're going to be running him on a budget, then you can simply run him with drive speed in the slot C. That's a decent support skill that he can run, and then null follow up is something that he can run in the Sacred Seal because he doesn't really get that with his weapon. You can always try and outsource that, but at this kind of super budget level, you can definitely try and do it. And if you're going to be investing a bit more into him, then Infantry Null Follow 4 from the Divine Codes could be an option because it allows him to support his infantry allies even more, and he himself is able to get the Order status and also the Null Follow Up status. So he can run Bonus Doubler as the Sacred Seal, and if you have an extra Brave Soren, then he could definitely make an amazing use out of it by running Flare as the special and running Magical Null Follow Up and Time Pulse 4. So because of the special jumping and Time Pulse 4, he's going to be able to trigger Flare really easily, and Magical Null Follow Up is still going to be giving you that damage reduction piercing, but actually giving you the speed debuff on the enemy, which is a lot more helpful for Arlen as he's a speedy mage. And Guard Echo is the attune skill he can run because he already buffs up his own attack with the weapon, so Attack with Echo is not really needed here, and Guard Echo is going to be much better. Fleeting Echo could also be an option if you want to stack up the damage reduction, but overall this is going to be the higher investment build that you can run on him. And because he's a unique unit giving you the unhindered movement status he could be useful in some of Duels as for enabling a lot of the cavalry threats on a map where trenches are going to be there. So you can run him with the Cavaliers and use him as a unit who can run counter control as an infantry unit, which is something that Caeda and Lind can not really do. So this is going to be taking advantage of his movement, and you can run Emblem Marth with Flare as you're not able to run Time Pulse 4 in his slot C. Yuliya is the 4-star focus unit of this banner, and she's also going to be the demote unit, and she's got base 41 attack and base 46 speed with both super boons, and she's got Sunlight plus staff, which is basically a non-seasonal version of Seaside Parasol plus. So this is going to be applying the guard status to the nearest foes in 5 spaces and the foes in 2 spaces of them if they have any kind of save skill. And then you're able to get plus 5 attack and speed in the combat and also inflict minus X resistance on the foe in the combat. And this is going to be depending on the total number of bonus status and the penalty status that you have got on the foe times 4. And this can go up to max 16. So not a bad weapon if you don't really have the Arcane Charmer staff. And then she does have speed resistance finish 3 at 5 stars. So if you're trying to fodder off your Ascended Young Tiki, then she can help you with the bridge fodder. She also has attack defense gap 3 at 4 stars, so that is a skill that you can use on many of your budget builds. And comparing Yuliya to Sol, you can see that she has got a lot better speed, which is going to be helping her, but she does have less resistance than Sol, which is not the best thing because you want to have more resistance on these healers so that you can run the ploy skill and support your allies and yourself a lot better. So Sol is going to be still, in my opinion, a better healer because of the plowing potential that he has got with his resistance. She is going to be having more speed than Nina, which is definitely better, but again, she's going to be having a bit less resistance, but certainly having that extra attack is going to be helping you hit harder as an offensive healer. So Yuliya does have good offenses. I just wish that instead of having the points in her defense or HP, she could have had the resistance, because while she has the offenses, I do value the plowing capabilities on these healers quite a lot as well. And if you're going to be building her up on a budget, then you can run Wrathful Staff in her slot B and have the Dazzling Staff refine. So later down the line, if you're trying to invest a bit more into her, you can change Wrathful Staff to Poetic Justice and run Attack Speed Unity in the slot A. And Infantry Null Follow-Up 4 is something you can run in your slot C to support your allies and also get the Null Follow-Up status yourself. And Glitter of Light and Arcane Charmer are going to be the best special and weapon that you can get. And if you've got Hortensia, then this is something you can run. And you can also run Wrathful Tempo in her slot B and also run Firestorm Boost 3 in the slot A, which is going to be giving you extra HP for Infantry Pulse 4 usage and also giving you the Guard effect, which does have good synergy with the Tempo effect. So this is also a build that you can run on her and make use of the Tina combat manual that we've got in the Divine Codes. And ultimately, the endgame build for her is going to be using a ploy skill, even though she doesn't really have as much resistance as the other healers like Sol, but still, this is something you can do at max investment and run attack speed ploy 3 in the slot C and run attack speed finish, which is going to be giving you the healing and also the true damage. Castor is the Grantor Battle unit out of this batch, and he's a Red Bow infantry unit with Vulture Bow Plus as his weapon, which is inheritable but not the best weapon considering the other inheritable bows that we have got, and also Arcane Dark Bow that is also there. And he has got base 46 attack and base 39 speed with super boons in both of them, so definitely not a lot of speed by the modern standards, even for the Grail units that we have got. And just like Cyril, he's going to be having Sudden Panic 3 as the fodder, so if you're building up Cyril, then he is going to be the fodder option for Sudden Panic, and he is going to be a less speedier version of Cyril. And Cyril is just going to be better for the arena usage because of having the trainee BST and scoring better and also having a preferred weapon. So all of those things do make him a better unit despite the fact that he has got less attack than Castor, and he also has a bit more speed, which is a lot better for a speedy archer. And Dorothy, even though she was released many months ago, she's still going to be a better offensive option because of having that speed. So Castor with his speed stat is going to be in a really awkward spot where even though he has got better attack, he's still not better offensively because that speed stat does hold him back. And he's not exactly the most impressive real option, but if you're just going to be building him up on a budget, then you could run him with the Speed Refine and Fury 3 in the slot A, and Sudden Panic is not the best skill for the slot B on a budget build, but you can try and make the most of it by running the Squad A Sacred Seal. But overall, you want to give him expensive skills like Assassin Strike and Attack Speed Finish 4, and run Golden Yule Bow Plus so that you can have the instant Deadeyes. So that is going to be doing a lot of damage, and you can also run White Wind Bow Plus, which can give you the Null Panic status and the Null Follow-Up status, and then you can run the Tempo 4 skill for getting the damage reduction piercing and also the full tempo effect. And he gets another status effect with the Oath 4 skill, so this is a good speedy weapon that he can make use of that is available in the Divine Codes. And ultimately, Arcane Darkbow is going to be an endgame weapon that he can run on him and run him with Deadeye and Flash Barrow. So you're going to be able to trigger Deadeye on your double attack because of the full tempo effect that you can get out of the sloppy skill. And on the hits that you're not going to be piercing through the damage reduction, the damage reduction piercing of Tempo 4 skill is going to be helping you. You can click the link on the screen right now to see my breakdown of Divine Codes 5 fodder that we have got, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Castor after seeing the competition in Cyril. So with that, see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.